Oh. Yeah. Oh. Well, that's new. I've never seen that before. What is that? Oh. It's just a Chinese cartoon. Oh, you. Stop trying to trigger me by saying it's just a Chinese cartoon. It's no joke, man. The meme has actually happened. It's a legit Chinese anime. How's that possible? No, man. It's right there, bro. Just check it out. Oh, okay. Now you're just playing me. This has to be like one of those Chinese knockoffs, you know? Like the Nintendo Polystation, Microsoft Bimbos, Sunbox Coffee, 712, Tids. Nah, dude. It's original. Completely and utterly original. Huh. And you're saying it's actually good too? Yeah, it's pretty good. What the fuck? You heard it right, folks. China has now officially made a well-made anime. No offense to China, of course, but they do have a little bit of a reputation. The anime in question is called The King's Avatar, which is still currently airing in the spring season of 2017. And with a surprising user score of 8.19 on my anime list, it's actually considered better than most of the Japanese anime currently airing as well. Pretty freaking impressive, is it not? So what is The King's Avatar all about? Well, okay, it's another one of those animes that takes place within a virtual world, an MMO, a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. However, the major difference in this one is that nobody is stuck in this virtual world, such as Log Horizon, Danmachi, Sword Art Online, or Overlord. It's about a person who plays an MMO competitively. Yes, that's right. It's an esport anime. To basically sum up the plot, the best player in the game gets ditched by his sponsor, mainly because the other people conspire against him to steal his spotlight. He is then forced to not only give up the character he's worked 10 years to create and maintain, but also to retire from the competitive community for at least a year. Because that's when he's actually allowed back in. Basically, in layman's term, he gets royally screwed over with little to no chance of actually reclaiming his former glory. With little to no money because at the time he signed the contract with the sponsor, it was absolute garbage, and the fact that he gave away most of his money to his friends who didn't fare too well in the competitive scene because it's also extremely hard to make a living being a professional gamer, he then goes to work at an internet cafe and restarts from scratch to build his reputation again. Obviously, this is not something you see very often, if ever, in anime plotlines. However, with esports on the rise and most of today's youth, in fact mostly everybody into some sort of form of gaming, you can see how a lot of people would relate and actually enjoy this type of anime. I mean, I for one completely sympathize with the terrible contracts given to newcomers in the entertainment field. Companies always want to maximize their profits, and screwing over people is something that is, well, very common within the industry in order to do that. Capitalism is so great. In fact, a lot of my YouTuber friends have been, or in fact still are, stuck in shitty contracts from the networks that they've signed with, because at the time, they thought they were amazing because it was like the only thing they could get, but now they quickly realized that they got boned hard. Remember to always read the fine print in contracts, and my lord, never sign something that's over 1 to 2 years too, because then you're just trying to really fuck yourself over. But moving on from that, another interesting thing about this anime is that the characters are not teenagers in the slightest. No, they're adults. This almost like never happens in anime, especially in stuff that's like gaming related too. There's no raging hormones or other juvenile subplots like that to be found, or even harems that are literally in every single one of its predecessors. That's right, everything has a harem in it. This man cares not for the ladies. He only cares to get his life back in order, and probably also to play the game that he really loves too, because let's be honest, guy, we love games, man. Not to say that there isn't any romance whatsoever. I mean, there is some that is kind of hinted in there. It's hinted at least, and one's heavily implied that they have some sort of extra romance going on. However, I will admit that this hero from King's Avatar, who is also overpowered, bears another striking resemblance to another overpowered hero named Kirito in Sword Art Online. I mean, just looking at them, it's pretty much like looking at an older version of Kirito. Hell, even his main love interest looks like an older Asuna. Just look at that freaking hair braid, man. I mean, it's like carbon copy, man. And another thing that's going to take a lot of time getting used to is the voice acting. Mainly because it's entirely in Chinese and nothing like the Japanese dubs that we are so used to hearing. I mean, just listen to it.
哟，都是新人。
是啊，我们第一次玩呢。
对，我们也是。
Sounds awkward, right? Coming out from characters that look like that? But fortunately, the more you watch it, the more you don't get pulled out from it anymore, and the more it actually starts sounding pretty natural. And yet another thing that's going to take a lot of getting used to is the show's hard-on for APMs, or that basically means actions per minute in gaming terms. Apparently, the inputs in this MMO have no global cooldowns, and people can spam commands as much as they like. Personally, I only thought APM was relevant in games like StarCraft or other RTS strategy games, but hey, you know, like, what do I know? So basically, everyone is always saying how amazing the main character's APM is and how he's doing some sort of crazy combo in order to do that. I don't know. Funnily enough, most of the time, they're just sitting back while spouting all this nonsense too. What a freaking useless party. Also, while the main hero himself may have trouble finding a sponsor and getting back into the gaming community, the same cannot be said for the show itself, mainly because the entire thing has McDonald's written all over it. Their logo is literally everywhere. To the show's freaking opening, to the food itself being eaten within the show, just full shots of food. This show sucks that clown's dick so hard that I'm pretty sure the reason it looks so amazing is because McDonald's just sponsored and funded the entire thing itself. Anyway, while I may criticize the show for having a little bit of a slow pacing towards the start, the McDonald's being everywhere, and the APM being mentioned literally every single 2 freaking minutes, it's still an entirely fun show that you should probably check out. The art is fantastic, the setting is fun, and while the plot itself may not be groundbreaking, it's still pretty solid and relatable. I'm pretty sure most gamers know what it feels like to create your own custom character, to spend many hours growing, developing, making this character the coolest, most badass thing ever, and growing super attached to it. But then when you finally get to a stopping point, you have to let it go, and you know, it just feels like you're letting go a little piece of yourself when you quit that game. But hey, I still have some funny things that I would like to point out just because it's funny. Like, I have been totally avoiding trying to say any of the characters in the show's name, mainly because I suck at saying Chinese names. I can't do it. It's just not possible. I'm sorry. Another funny fact is when the main hero starts out again, he freaking looks like this. What MMO starts you out looking like you've done endgame dungeons? And seriously, that cape? You shouldn't have those until you're at least level 20 at least. At least the armor for males and females in the game gives equal amounts of fan service. But they do got that right. And the main hero smokes? Well, that's bad for you. You gotta remember, winners don't do drugs. All in all though, I do recommend that you check out The King's Avatar, which is aptly named because it's about the main hero losing his avatar and wanting to regain it because it's in a game, you know what yeah, there you go. It's different, it's fun, and it certainly stands out as one of the best animes this current season. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video here. I really wanted to cover it because I found it fascinating that there was such a great Chinese freaking anime out there. I was like, holy shit, that's pretty cool. Well, hope you enjoyed this video once again. Maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe for some more cool content like this. And I hope to see all of you beautiful sons of guns again next time.
You crazy mother.